Okay, so you may be asking yourself, what is the difference between up level one, up level two, and up level three? So the goal behind up level is that you actually enroll into the entire program. Each of the courses builds upon itself to create an entire program that helps you to embody this lifestyle. So, this program was inspired by my own personal development work. Up level one was where I started. There wasn't an actual class, there wasn't a curriculum. It was just a part of my everyday life and what it was that I was doing and what it was that I was learning that actually helped me. And then up level two was the second piece of my journey and what it was that I was learning and what it was that I was doing with that information. And then up level three is something I've never actually taught on before. It is some of the stuff that I've been learning in this last couple of years in this journey. So I wanted to break down what you can expect from each one of these levels and how I envision people moving through this. Up level one is called mind, body, and soul. And that is basically where we go over the trinity of who you are as a person. We often see ourselves as this physical being. I have this dark hair, I have this skin, I have these organs, but we are more than just a physical body. Our mind is our mental body, and this is happening on the mental plane. And then we have a physical body, and that's happening on the physical plane. And then we have a soul, which is happening in the energetic plane that most of us are just ignoring and don't even realize is there. And what happens is this trinity is supposed to be working together in balance, mind, body, soul, all working in unison as one to support the spirit. But what we do is we overuse our minds, we ignore and numb our bodies. Most of us aren't even aware of the soul and what that's doing, or we're living the not soul, the not self. So if you're familiar with human design, you know that you were designed with a specific energy, and that energy has a built-in purpose, it has a built-in gifts, a built-in aura. And most of us are not living within that design. We are living in our not selves. We're living as the people we've been told we are, a byproduct of our trauma or experiences, as opposed to who we actually are. Up level one is all about understanding that trinity. And it's understanding the part of the trinity that most people do not recognize, which is you are omitting a frequency all the time. You are omitting a vibration out of this trinity. And that vibration is magic. It is life force. It is playing such a large role in your life. And you can feel this vibration. You can feel this frequency through your emotions. And most of us don't know how to feel our emotions. Most of us don't know how to name our emotions. Most of us just sort of ignore the emotion, push it down, shove it away. And that creates these energetic wounds in our body that creates havoc on our system. And so in this class, we talk about that trinity. We talk about frequency and understanding that frequency and vibration. What does it mean that I am a vibrational being? How do I even use that? We talk about that. We talk about emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is such a large part of this because the emotion is how our soul speaks to us. So the mind speaks in thoughts and the body speaks through sensation. So even those of us who have shut down the sensations of our body, we know what that feels like, right? If I touch something hot, if I touch something cold, there's a sensation that my physical body is experiencing, and that's giving me information, right? There's a thought that my mind is feeding me, and that's giving me information on the data that my mind is collecting and the conclusion that it's drawing. Well, what about the soul? How is the soul talking to us? The soul is talking to us through emotion. But if you don't understand that, if you don't understand what the soul is trying to say through that emotion, then you can become overwhelmed by your emotion. You can feel controlled by your emotion. You're missing the message, right? Up level one is all about teaching you how to do that. Now, after you get done with up level one, you're a master of changing your frequency. That's the goal, is to learn how to master changing my frequency. Learn how to take what it is that the mind is telling me, that the body is telling me, that the soul is telling me, taking those thoughts, those sensations, and those emotions, and learning what to do with them, and how it is that you can change, how it is that you can influence them to change your vibration, to change your frequency into one that's actually serving you and one that's in alignment with the life that you want. So once you get really good at that, You are no longer a prisoner to your thoughts. You're no longer a prisoner to your body. You're no longer a prisoner to your emotions. Then we move on to up level 2. So the reason why up level 1 is so important and is such a foundation before you move into up level 2 is I used to teach these two things in the same class. I used to teach up level 1 and up level 2 together. If you were an up level student, you probably experienced this. And what I noticed happened was, and the reason why, let's back up. The reason why I taught them together is because I was on this journey for a while. I had already done the work that happens in up level 1, and I was in up level 2's work when I developed up level. And so I was giving all of this information to students that took me years of conceptualizing and reflecting to be able to integrate into my body. And so when I delivered this information, what I saw time and time and time again is students would be like, agency over your mind, body, and soul. Oh, the reframing, my mind part sucks. The feeling, the sensations of my body, I don't want to do that. Learning about emotions, like, that's so hard. They would rather skip to up level 2, which was, how do I use that power to manifest a life that I enjoy? How do I become a conscious co-creator of this world? So many people were trying to jump to the fun part and they were bypassing that first part. And what happened was they were so frustrated because in order for the second piece to work, you have to have that agency. You have to know what to do when your mind shows you something that is not in alignment with what it is that you want to create. You have to know what to do when your body is giving you a message that's really hard to receive. You have to know what to do when your soul is giving you an emotion that's a frequency that's not the frequency that you want to be on. And so up level 1 is so important, and it's such a foundational skill because then you can actually move into the exercises of intentionally manifesting, intentionally, consciously creating, right? Because you know how to actually do the thing. If you're given the exercises of how to manifest, but they require you to have personal agency, and you don't have personal agency, you're sitting there spinning your wheels going, but it's not working, but it's not working, but it's not working. It's like, well, it's not working because even though you're doing the exercise, your mind and your body and your soul are all going in different directions. They're not on the same page, okay? So in up level 2, we move into this concept of manifestation. This is about vibrational alignment. This is about you recognizing how everything that you learned in class 1 is actually sending out vibrational offering into the world, and your reality is matching that vibration. And so if you want your external world to change, it starts by changing what's going on inside of you. It starts with changing the dynamic and the relationship of that trinity. So this is about energetic focus. How do you focus your energy towards something that you desire, and understanding where your focus is actually flowing? So I just want to point out here that manifestation is happening all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. You are a co-creator, whether you want to wear that role or not, whether you have figured out how to do it in a way that serves you or not, it doesn't matter. It's always running. So a lot of times people are like, well, I'm either manifesting or I'm not. That is not true. You're always manifesting. It's happening all the time because our reality is responding to what it is that we are vibrationally putting off. And so this isn't something that you're either doing or you're not doing. This isn't something where you say, okay, well, I'll just figure out that manifestation stuff later. Like, it's something that is actively happening in your system. And so you want to make sure that you are harnessing that power and that you are actually being conscious of what you are co-creating in this world, because you are co-creating all the time. You're just doing it subconsciously. So this is about becoming conscious of what it is that you are co-creating, to be able to see, to recognize the patterns of what is happening in my life and how is that a vibrational match to what it is that I'm actually feeling inside, because the outside is a reflection of what is going on internally. And so in order to change those things, in order to change the external, you're going to go internal, going to be able to use the skills that you learn in up level 1 to become an active participant, intentional manifestation, not just letting the manifestation happen without your say. Okay, so after that, we move into up level 3. Now, again, you can't go into up level 3 without first learning up level 1 or up level 2, because what ends up happening is when you hear the message of up level 3 without understanding up level 1 or up level 2, God, you're triggered. This is one of the hardest lessons that I learned along this journey. And there's so much more for me to learn and discover. It's not like I'm some enlightened being and I have it all figured out, right? This is a journey. And there are things that I learned in up level 3 that actually challenge things that I learned in up level 1, but up level 1 was a necessary step to prepare me to handle that challenge. Okay? So in up level 1, what I find most people are doing when they come into up level 1 is there is more darkness than there is light in their life. There is more low vibrational emotion than there is high vibrational emotion. So the focus then is to try and bring in the light, to move the vibration up, to experience some of that high vibration. Now, a lot of times people, after staying in high vibration for a while, they start to feel fatigued because that's not something that you can carry on forever. Because the light cannot exist without the dark and the dark cannot exist without the light. So there's duality there. So up level 3 is all about transmutation. Transmutation is about taking something and turning it into something else. This life cannot be a life with zero darkness. You cannot live a life without pain. You cannot live a life without sadness or anger. You can't live your life without those things. Those things are also sources of power as well. But you have to make peace with those things by realizing that you can transmute them, that you have this ability to alchemize energy and emotion. You can turn rage into passion. It doesn't mean that rage does not exist. It means that you alchemize that power into passion. If you've ever been on any type of like a drug, like an antidepressant, I used to be on something called Effexor. And what Effexor did, I was also on something called Trileptal. And what these drugs did was they numbed the receptors in my brain so that I would stop feeling so much sadness. But what happened was I felt like a zombie. Because in order for the brain to stop the receptors from taking in the sadness, it also had to stop the receptors from taking in the dopamine. And so what ended up happening was, did I feel less sad? Yeah, but I also felt less joy because those two things are interconnected. Think about grief. Grief only exists because it is the absence of the love that you had for the person that you lost or the thing that you lost. If you weren't connected to that person, if you didn't love that person or love that thing, there would be no grief in its loss. So up level 3 is all about understanding the paradox of energy, understanding the paradox of our emotions and our power. It is all about learning the power of emotional alchemy. How is it that instead of rejecting the thing that you think is hurting you, you take that thing and you transmute it into something else, something that is beautiful? This is about duality and oneness. Instead of seeing things as light or dark or bad or good or evil, you start to see the oneness in everything and the beauty of that oneness. And you start to decide what you want to use that energy for, again, sinking deeper and further into your co-creation ability. This is about tapping into all of your power. There are multiple parts of the up-level program. There is the class. So that is where you come here to my home in my classroom, the Luxana classroom, and you actually learn the material. So there is up level 1 taught in the room right behind me. We teach up level 1. Okay, it's a 3-day course. You learn all of the information, but then you need to integrate that information. You need to integrate it into your mind, into your body, and into your soul. This is happening through mental reframing. This is happening through nervous system work. This is happening through emotional regulation. Those things are very important. You can't just learn the information and flip a switch. There has to be integration. So I can't keep you in the Luxana room for 6 months while you integrate this, right? You have to get out into the world and you have to experience it. And so the second part of UpLevel is the Facebook community as well as the monthly coaching calls. So the Facebook community is where you're connected with everybody else that's also learning this information, where you guys can talk to each other, you guys can ask questions, you guys can share experiences with each other. Hey guys, let me tell you how it is that I changed my frequency in the moment. Hey guys, let me share with you how I reframed this thought as I was arguing with my spouse. And somebody else could jump in and say, hey, I need help. How do I reframe when my nervous system is firing off fight or flight, right? And so we're in there supporting you in the actual implementation and integration of the information that you learn. This also includes monthly coaching calls. So when you enroll in UpLevel, you get a whole year of monthly coaching calls. What that looks like is every single month, I'm doing live coaching calls. The only people that are invited and have access to those calls are people who are in the UpLevel program. And so they can call in and I can live coach you. So if you're like, I've got this thing that I just cannot get over, sometimes you need a container for someone else to hold that with you, to share with you what is going on, for us to alchemize our energy together so that you can make those changes and those leaps. And so that's what those monthly coaching calls are. I'm going to tell you guys right now at the beginning of the program is the best time to get in, because guess what? The coaching calls, if there was only a couple people on the coaching call in the beginning versus 5 years from now when there's thousands of people on those calls, which one would you rather have access to? And the price will probably go up over the years as we expand and we go to different cities and we're teaching this in different cities and we have all of the operational costs that come with it. The cost of the program has to increase to keep up with that cost. And so if you're one of the first, if you're a foundational member of UpLevel, not only do you get in when the cost is lower, but you have more access to me at the beginning. It's get in now. If you want to do this, start now, right? Okay, so these are the monthly coaching calls. And then there's mentorship option. So this is how I see this going, okay? It is a circle, okay? So you get in to UpLevel, and let's say you take the class, and then you log on to a call, and then you do another call. And then let's say in the past, what I have noticed is UpLevel students commonly take UpLevel multiple times. It's a different version of you taking the course. It's a different version of you hearing the material. It's a different version of you bringing different experiences to the class. And so often what I saw was people loved taking the class multiple times because they always heard it differently and they showed up differently. So it's like when you first get into UpLevel, it's like you're at a baseline, right? Like, this is who I am. This is energetically what I'm carrying in my body. This is how much, trauma I still have controlling my thoughts and convincing me of certain narratives, right? I have all of these scars in my body. I have all of this emotional baggage that I've been holding on to, right? So you come into UpLevel at a certain base. And then after you take UpLevel and you start to unpack some of that stuff, you're a different person. It's a different version of you. You quantum leaped into another life, right? And so now when you come back into UpLevel, you're coming in differently, energetically differently. You're able to heal things differently. Some of those limited beliefs that you had before are not there to get in the way of you hearing a certain message, right? And so it's really common for people to want to retake the course. So let's say you did the class, you have a call, and you decide, I need to go to class again. I need to hear this information again. So you jump into another class, and then you do a call, and then you do a call, and then you do a call. And at some point, you say, I've got this. I have integrated what I learned in UpLevel 1. I feel I have agency over my mind, body, and soul, and I'm ready to move on to that manifestation piece, right? I'm ready to graduate and to move on into UpLevel 2. At that point, you contact me and we get you moved, right? So now you're moving into UpLevel 2. The same thing is happening. You're going to class. You're having a call. you're having a call. But the difference here is that now you've already mastered this part. One of the most incredible ways that I have learned and retained and integrated information is by turning around and teaching it to somebody else. I know not everybody works that way. So if you don't feel called to the mentorship piece, not a problem. But for those people who are like me, who are like, when I am coaching a client, when I am teaching a friend, when I am passing on information and knowledge, that is when it hits me the most. And if you're watching my mirror, there's all these inside jokes in my family and my friends right now about Mew Mew, which is mirror. If you're watching my mirror series on YouTube, you know that the reason why it is so easy for us to see stuff in other people and recognize patterns in other people instead of ourselves is because of the way that the brain works and the mechanisms of the brain and how it hides certain things from us because it's biased about our decisions and our thought processes as trying to protect us, right? But it's so much easier for us to see in other people. And so a lot of times when I'm teaching and when I'm coaching someone else, it's so easy for me to recognize the patterns in them and say, hey, this is the thing that's really holding you back. And then I have this light bulb moment of, oh, wait, that's relevant to me too, right? And so every single time I teach this information, it's like a refresher in my mind and I'm able to clearly see it even more clearer than the last time that I taught it. And so if you decide to do that, once you graduated into up level 2, you're allowed to become a mentor for the up level 1 students. You've moved out of the Facebook community for up level 1. Now you're in up level 2, but if you choose to, you can stay in that community and be a mentor for those people. You can help them to learn. So let's say that you do a class, you do a call, and you decide, hey, I also want to be a mentor to these people. And you do another call, and then maybe even you go into the class one more time, and then you do another call, and you're doing whatever it is that you need to do to stay close to the fire, to keep burning, right? And to integrate what it is that you are learning in up level 2. And then you call me and you say, okay, I'm ready to graduate. I'm ready to move on to up level 3. Tell me all the things. Trigger the hell out of me as I learn about alchemy and embracing the oneness of this world, even if this world is driving me crazy. But when you get into up level 3 and you start to learn all of these things, the same thing. I'm now in a class. I'm now listening and call. Maybe I want to consider mentorship. So not only am I mentoring up level 1 students, but I'm mentoring up level 2 students. Now, if you continue to do this, and this lights a fire in you the way that it has lit a fire in me, this is building. We are building up level. This is going to start in this room, like Amazon started in a garage, right? Little spaces that held these big visions, right? Like we're in that, but this will grow. This will grow. And up level will continue to spread. And it will go to other cities, and we will go to other states, and we will go to other countries. I can't teach it all. I need other people to join me and help me teach this message. So if as you're going through up level 1 and up level 2 and up level 3, and this is becoming a way that you live your life, and you are seeing the positive benefits that the previous students have shared with you guys in those testimonial videos, and you're like, I love this lifestyle, and I love mentoring people in it, and I want to become an up level teacher. After you have graduated from the program, you can request to become an up level teacher. Like an apprenticeship, have me teach you how it is that you can not only teach this information to other people, but to hold space for other people, to help them to actually alchemize and change their own life. And so wherever you see yourself in this, whether this is about you personally, the way it started for me, or whether you see yourself bringing this to a community of people or expanding with me as we change the world, any and all of that is acceptable. But you got to get started in it. So if you are somebody that has done up level before, this community that we are building, the depth that we are creating, The vision that we are carrying forward into the world is so much bigger than what you have already experienced. And so if this is calling to you, even on an individual level, you're like, you know what? I absolutely love the way that I felt when I ended up level. But then it all just sort of fizzled out as I went back into the real world and I started to be triggered and I no longer had that community and I no longer had something to plug into, right? Outside of my personal Facebook page. If you felt like that, this is different. This is giving you that long-term ability to plug into the community and have that integration support so that you can actually continue to put that, to put those things that you learn into practice. If you are someone who has taken up level and you're like, oh my God, I am obsessed with this lifestyle and I would love to become an up level teacher. Yes, get back into the program. No one can skip steps. Even if you've taken up level 7 times, which I know some of you have, I love you, I love you, I love you. You can't skip the steps. We have to go back into up level 1. The curriculum is different. The course is different. You got to see it. You got to see it. You got to be a part of it. I need you guys to be a part of this. So if you feel called, reach out to me, go onto the website, get registered for class. I love you guys. We have a up level happening. I don't know when you're watching this, but we have an up level happening this coming weekend, May 1st through May 3rd of 2026. I'm going to say that because who knows when you're watching this video. And then we also have next month scheduled. We're going to have one June. I want to say the date is like the 26th, the 27th, something like that. See, last weekend of June, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you are ready, get in, enroll, and I will see you guys. I love you.